He refuses to take the disingenuous bait. This guy is very talented. All right. Reporters, some members of the Jewish community, including Democratic Congressman Josh Gadamer, were alarmed by the language you used at the rally last week, calling APAC monsters who move dark money. Mandani, I want to be very clear. We're talking about a status quo where... Okay, let's listen to it. And then I move to the next one. He's obsessed with hating Jews. Nah.
Some members of the Jewish community, including Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer, were alarmed by the language he used at the rally last week, calling APAC monsters who move dark money. These are phrases that invoke old anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories. What do you say to those who are concerned that the language you used is dangerous?
Now, I want to be very clear. We're talking about a status quo where children are being killed on a daily basis. More than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli military since the so-called ceasefire. Even an Al Jazeera journalist, Ahmed Wishah, was killed this past Saturday by an Israeli strike. And when I am speaking about APAC, I'm speaking about an organization that has been supportive of the status quo, that has fought any attempt to actually deliver safety to people not just in Palestine, but frankly, through much of the region. And it is a status quo for immorality. It is one that I will not accept. And when it comes to the way in which they defend the status quo, oftentimes they defend it through direct contributions, as we are seeing right now in New York 13. Oftentimes they also support the status quo through dark money, by filtering money that would have previously been directly from APAC, now through other shell organizations whose identities of their contributors are only made clear after an election. And I think that it is important that when we ask ourselves how such death and destruction is happening overseas, we also name those who allow it to take place.
All right, we're gonna go.
Good. All right, so is it done? Yep, that's it. They're trying to box him. It's like every time you talk against the behavior of the Jews, all of a sudden it's the biggest sin ever. All right, next tweet. Karmelo Anthony has a new high-powered legal team for his appeal, and most of his lawyers are black. All right, 43 seconds.
But we have an update for Karmelo Anthony, baby. He's got a new team behind him. So a new legal team filed substitution for counsel to pursue appeal for Karmelo Anthony. Baby, and here's the starting lineup. Nobody came to play. I know people thought Ben Crump would be up in here, but don't worry, he brought a co-counsel to the team. Now leading this counsel is Russell Wilson II. And if you want to know the credentials of everybody on counsel, you can go ahead and stop, pause, and read. I just want to make it clear, I stand with Karmelo Anthony, and I love that our community has come behind this young black man and let him know that he is not alone. And hopefully we can turn this conviction over and get him the fuck out of there. I don't want him to serve no time for defending himself. But we have an update for Karmelo
Anthony. The
Anthony.
thing as well, I heard, okay, I try not, things like that really get me really emotional. So I try not to get too close to it. I just throw my prayers out there for him. But I heard that there were video evidence that his lawyer didn't show during the trial. Okay, so my prayers to him. But it's very emotional, especially when you have kids and you see things like that. You know, they try to, it's heartbreaking. Oh, did I put it twice? 92? No, I didn't even copy it. It's very emotional. Next tweet. Alright, so we are in the UK. Alright. You can never please a deranged narcissist. How should Andy Burnham tame Trump? Channel 4 Dorothy Byrne explain why rational conversation is in it. Let's see here.
How should Andy Burnham treat Donald Trump?
First of all, we've got to acknowledge that Trump is incredibly unpredictable, and Trump doesn't treat anyone else the same way from one day to the next. So from that perspective, no world leader actually has a blueprint for dealing with the current president of the United States. But he is the president of the United States, and therefore any incoming prime minister needs to build a rapport in the way that Starmer did in the early days of his premiership, and that's sort of fallen apart in the last 6 months or so. If it is Andy Burnham or anyone else becoming prime minister after the Labour leadership election, they need to go to Washington and try and have a rational conversation. But the problem with that, as I said at the start of my comments, is don't expect the answer to still be the same the day after.
Okay, you could spend as much as you like on defence, and we should have spent more, but it was because we didn't agree to support the immoral and ludicrous war against Iran, which has been a total failure. If Trump dares to call Starmer a failure, he is the much greater failure in his catastrophic war in Iran. So you can never please a deranged narcissist.
That is true. What was it reported that the UK, even though on the facade, they tell people they're not supporting the what's going on in the Middle East and whatnot, but there were videos of them from the UK shipping weapons, all right, to go to Israel and things like that. I mean, the US, the UK, Israel are one. I will not be surprised if, what's this guy? What's the guy name? I will not be surprised if, what's this guy name? Nigel Farage, okay? Because he came, was it Nigel Farage? What was the other one? The woman prime minister who stepped down. I forgot her name. And Bojo, and what's this other guy? He used to work for MTV at some point. Okay, they came to the US to support Trump. So I will not be surprised if Farage will not be the next, prime minister, because they are on the same page with Trump. Whatever, let's move on. Next tweet. Okay, so let's listen to this here. Dr. Claud Anderson is one of the greatest foundational Black American scholars we've ever had when it comes to Black economics. And it's said that most our people, especially the boomers, didn't take him seriously. All right, so let's listen. How long is this?
Black people in America, you are not progressing. I've been telling you that now for 25 to 30 years, even when I was with the Carter administration going around the country. You're not going to progress. You're going backwards. You're going backwards. The only people, blacks in America, are progressing are those who are locked into a vein called entertainers. If you're an entertainer, what you're telling white folk is that you are safe as a birth control pill. There ain't nothing gonna happen. You're not gonna do anything for black folk. If you're running with a ball, joking, telling jokes, singing, dancing, that's safe. White folk, that doesn't frighten white folk. They'll give you a television show. They'll put you on 10 television shows. They'll make you a host of a television show. They'll let you broadcast every sport event. As long as you don't address any issues dealing with black folk and the problems that black folk have.
What is it? I'm thinking of that woman who told LeBron James to just dribble. And also a couple of things popped up in my mind with videos I've shared in the past is with what's happening in South Africa, where they're kicking out their fellow African, well, they're not from South Africa, but from the region, from the continent, kicking them out. And then South African, on the other hand, are just dancing for white people. That's what came to mind as he was speaking. All right, but let's continue.
And so when you all see all these blacks on television, read about them in the newspaper, those blacks have been classified as being 20 times safer than the birth control pill. There ain't nothing gonna happen for black folk. And so this morning, I will let you know that you are not progressing. You're not progressing. And first and foremostly, social integration has failed. Get that through your head. Social integration has failed. As a matter of fact, you lost in social integration. You didn't gain anything. You lost everything you had. Any black person here in this auditorium today that's more than 50 years of age can tell you what you used to have. You have nothing now. You used to have theaters and bus companies, cab companies. You used to have almost everything that whites had. But now you have nothing. Why? Because, see, social integration is a weakening process. It is not designed to empower you. Powernomics might be, but social integration is not. You cannot integrate anything you cannot empower anything by integrating it. You weaken it. And in social integration in this country, what social integration did was make you a guest. You became a guest in what other people own and control. And any of you know that once your guest has been with you for 2 or 3 days, you want to get rid of him. We are guests. You don't own any hotels. You don't own anything of value in the country. That's why everybody's been pushing social integration. That's why you no longer have communities. You used to have decent communities. In every black city in America, I used to be able to go to any city and find a black neighborhood, not a neighborhood, those neighborhood communities. You used to have some of the finest communities in America right here in LA. You had a Compton, you had a Inglewood, you had a Watts, you had a South Central, you had something. You got nothing now. And all my blacks who were so silly enough, they moved out of the city up into the mountains and said, I'm getting away from all those people. I'm going to go up in the mountain by myself. And you turn over the city to the people you're competing against. Social integration cannot enhance you. Now, anybody in social economics knows this. The Jews found this out way back a long time ago, in the 1500s, in Europe, when Jews tried to socially integrate. And Jews found out very quickly it is a weakening process. They became at risk.
I would love to hear more of him. All right, so that's that. Let's go to, this is my last one for this video, okay? And then I'll edit it tonight. Okay, so this guy, a Mexican native, says the biggest lie on Native Americans. All right, so let's listen.
Could you imagine a few hundred or even a few thousand white people in Africa trying to convince millions of black people to be shipped across the ocean as slaves? That just wouldn't happen. They would never comply. Black people are like the boldest people on the planet. That's why if you ask a black person from America, hey, where are you from? And they're like, we're from Chicago. And you're like, well, where are you really from? And they're like, we're from Chicago. That's because they're literally from there. The only way they got us to believe this is through education. They manipulated everything through education. Black people are the natives to America. That's also why American black people don't look like Africans. They look different. Look at every country in the Caribbean. It's all black people. That's because they're from here. One of the biggest questions I always had is if there were natives here, then why are there almost no full-blooded Native Americans anywhere? It's because they're black people. And when black folks eat really good and get a lot of sun, their skin turns bronze or red because they're redskins. Could you imagine a few hundred or...
Some stuff he's saying, I don't know if I'm even gonna show this. I don't agree with some of the things that he said, but I don't know, maybe when I'm editing I'll think of something, but I don't know. So let's see here. Before I go, I shared this in one of my videos. Okay, it's hard to believe, but here we are. Every time I see this, I think of when I did that video. It's for my members. You know, the triangle that usually in the dollar, I think it's in the dollar bill, with the eye at the peak of the triangle. And then there's a vision that I had, and I think it was slightly after the election, and I saw the thing, the triangle, the eye upside down, cutting the triangle into half. This is what that reminds me. Oh my God, it looks like a, how do you call this? Those rednecks' backyard where they're playing. I usually see those videos popping up on YouTube here and there, backyard wrestling. Oh my God. All right, let's read some comments and then that's it. Really? Are there no way to charge this administration with destruction of federal property? I'm thinking the same thing. Damn, this demented old fool ruined our White House. It looks awful. You're absolutely right. And no one is doing anything about it. And that is just so sad and pissed me off. Good morning, Myra. I mean, many of these people who could do something about it, their hands and mouth and tongues are tied due to the Epstein file, and they're letting him do whatever he wants. Oh my God. So that's it. God help us. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. All right, so that's it. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.
You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.